A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Those of you who came to the class yesterday, um, we will continue from that point where we ended the class, and then for those who rejoined or perhaps joined for the first time today, then we can recap from the beginning. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Thee alone do we worship, and Thee alone do we implore for help. Implore, or in simple words, you could say we ask for help. So, Iya on its own would not carry any certain meaning. But once it's combined here, I will highlight certain parts just to so you can keep track with me. So, Iyaka, ka is a pronoun. You, them, she, he. All of these are pronouns. So ka is you. It's a pronoun. Together, iyaka would mean you alone, thee alone. Okay. So iya, we discussed the word iya yesterday, and this is simply to imply certainty for something. So iyaka, that you absolutely, you alone, no one else. Iyaka, you alone, na'budu. Now we spoke about something called a root word, the roots of a verb. So here, abada would be the root. Ain, ba, dal. We in Arabic we say ibada, worship. Okay, ma'bud. We say abad. Abad is ghulam, a servant. So all of these various hundreds of words will be derived from the root. In this sense, though, in this particular verb, the noon here indicates something we call fail muzare. I don't want to go into too much detail with the grammatic rules, but slowly I will give you some hints as to what exactly is happening here. So this is present and future tense, right? So one way of remembering this, and there are exceptions to every rule, of course, but for the rule of thumb, the general rule is that if it's in the beginning, you will most probably you should keep in mind that this is most probably present or future tense. So noon indicates us. Thee alone do we worship. We will not be able to say we worshipped. We will say thee alone do we worship. So this is the verb here, wa, and this is of course a conjunction. This is used to connect words, just like in English we have and, which is there to connect words. Iyyaka na'budu, alone ka you, na'budu we worship. Wa and iyyaka, you alone, nasta'in, we ask for help. One very interesting thing here is if an alif, sin, and ta, if these three come in the beginning of a word, this usually indicates that you're asking for something, almost as if you need it and you're desperate for something and you're asking for something. So alif, sin, ta is there to indicate that. So alif, sin, ta in this case, the alif will be replaced by noon. So nasta'in, we ask for help, we implore for help. And this is in exact I guess the connection between Allah and the creation of Allah. We don't demand help. We don't demand what we want. We we request Allah. We implore Allah's help. We ask for Allah's help. So nasta'in is actually in perfection, is a perfect word to illustrate that very point. Wa iyyaka nasta'in, and thee alone do we ask for help. So Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam has actually explained this verse beautifully, that the fact that na'budu, we ask for help, oh sorry, we worship, has come before nasta'in, we implore, we ask for help, is that we need to fulfill the rights of worship. before we actually get to the point of asking for help, imploring for help. So once na'budu, which is the focal point for a Muslim, once that's been established with consistency, then nasta'in means we ask for help. Now that we've committed to worship, nasta'in, now we can start asking consistently for help and request and implore for Allah's help. So if we just read the translation, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, thee alone do we worship and thee alone do we implore for help. The next verse is Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Guide us in the right path. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Guide us in the right path. Ihdi. Ihdi is you guide. This is called fail amr, the imperative tense. You don't have to remember these terminologies. You just want you to follow me as we go along. Fail amr is when the command is given, right? You don't have a choice. It's a command. It's a commandment by Allah the Almighty. So ihda is you guide. Ihdina, you guide us. So this is this verb is the imperative tense, fail amr in Arabic. Ihdi, you guide. Who should you guide? Na, us. Ihdina, guide us. And then, we spoke about how the Quran is a beautiful illustration where it's almost as if there's a communication happening, right in the verses of the Quran. So if you think about it, if we say ihdi, guide who? Ihdina, guide us to where? As-sirat, guide us to a specific path. Which path? Al-mustaqim, which is straight. So this is an easy way of perhaps also learning the translation. Is if you look at it from this perspective as well, it will make a bit more sense for those who are learning. So as-sirat, obviously this is a noun, the path, and al-mustaqim, this is an adjective, straight. Al-mustaqim is straight, and there's more grammatic rules to these words, but I think for now, I don't think I will go into more detail so that we can actually keep in mind what we've learned um, in these classes. This is the last verse of Surah Al-Fatihah. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. The path of those on whom thou hast bestowed thy blessings, those who have not incurred thy displeasure, and those who have not gone astray. Sirat is path. We just read Sirat, as-Sirat. Now, interestingly enough, I'm sure you will start picking these small points very quickly now. This says as-Sirat. As-Sirat, the path. Right? The alif lam indicates the as-Sirat. It makes something specific. Just Sirat would mean a simple path. It does not have any, uh, I guess there's nothing attached to it. Just a simple. But when you say as-Sirat, the path, another example would be, um, right, Alhamd, the praise, the ultimate praise, all comprehensive praise, right? So Alif Lam gives you.
It's a room.
So is anyone who is able to
It's a
mute?
live class.
If the participants can mute themselves. So Alif Lam, as we studied yesterday as well, this indicates the, or in this context, Alhamd, all praise. Now going back to the verse, the last verse, Sirat. Now if I was to add, alif lam here, this would become as-sirat. Not path, but not just path, but the path. Something specific, all right? But of course, this is not what the Quran says. We take away alif lam is taken away. Sirat is just simply path. Now again, going back to the way of learning, which has benefited me as well. Sirat, the path of whom? Sirat al-lazina. Al-lazina is those. This is a relative pronoun. For example, in English, we have who, whom, whose, which, that. All these things are relative pronouns. But in this context, Sirat al-lazina, path of those. So can I please ask the participants to check once again? To mute themselves. Jazakallah. Sirat, path, al-lazina, those. I did not add this, but I think I will add it now for the benefit of the participants. If I was to say Sirat al-lazi, Sirat al-lazi, this would mean path of whom? Of one individual, right? The path of that individual. But because there is ya noon here, there is noon here, Sirat al-lazina, the path of those people. Right? So this is plural. Al-lazina is plural of al-lazi. Sirat al-lazina, path of those people. An'amta. You if you recall, we studied how in the beginning, if you see na'budu, for example, for we worship, and we will come to fi'l muzare, inshallah, in one of the classes to come. Uh, but for present and future tense, always remember that it begins from the if we, he, she, he, us, whatever. If it begins from if it comes at the beginning, then that is an indicative of present or future tense. Now, if that comes in the end, that would mean fail mazi, past tense. Uh, just to give you an example of this, an'amta, you bestowed your blessings. An'amu, because this is the beginning, this would be present and future tense. Again, I don't expect you to remember all of this. Now, I'm just giving you some little hints that hopefully you can take with you. And inshallah, in the future classes, this will become second nature to you. So an amta, you, an amta, the ta in the end means you. An amta, you bestowed blessings. Of course, this is referring to Allah the Almighty. An amta, you bestowed blessings. Allah. Allah is on, upon. Again, in English, we have words like in, at, on, off, to, etc. And these are prepositions. In Arabic, Allah would be one of those. And Allah means on. So if I was to say, bear with me. If I was to say, Alal, I'm sure hopefully all of you can read some Arabic. So Alal Kitab would mean on the book, right? So Allah would mean on. So we go back again, Sirat, path of Allazina, those an'amta, you bestowed blessings, Allah, on him, on them. Sirat allazina an'amta alayhim. Now, if I take you here, this says alayhim. This is one word, alayhim, which in fact is separately, if you do split word translation, which we are studying at the moment, this is alahim. But once combined, this is alayhim, upon them, on them. Wa and ghair is not. Sometimes I'm sure you've heard of the term ghair Muslim. Ghair Muslim. Ghair is not. Ghair Muslim, one who is not a Muslim. So ghair simply means not. Ghairil maghzub. Maghzub is, this is in English we call this passive, where the subject, the one who carries out the action, is unknown. Maghzub means that where those individuals who incurred Allah's displeasure, Allah is obviously in brackets, those individuals who incurred, who became the reason for causing the displeasure of Allah the Almighty. Ghairil maghzub, Allah, again Allah, upon, alayhim. So ghairil maghzub alayhim. Now if you go to the translation, Sirat al-lazina anamta alayhim, the path of those on whom thou hast or you have bestowed thy blessings. Ghairil maghzub alayhim, those who have not incurred thy displeasure. Ghairil maghzub alayhim, those who have not, ghair not, al maghzub, who have incurred displeasure, alayhim, upon them. Wa and la, not, ad-dallin. Ad-dallin is those individuals, those people who have gone astray. So now we go back to the beginning, and I'm aware of the fact that more people have joined the class today, but it's all a recap. So yesterday we studied how Surah Fatiha has been referred to as the most important chapter of the Holy Quran by the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And various names were given, like Fatihatul Kitab, the opening chapter of the book, As-Salat, the prayer, Alhamd, the praise, Qur'an, the mother of the Quran, Al-Qur'anul Azim, the great Quran, As-Sab'ul Masani, the oft repeated 7 verses, Kitab, the mother of the book, Ash-Shifa, the cure, Ar-Ruqya, the charm, Al-Kanz, the treasure. So from this you can see it's wonderful to see that how the Prophet ﷺ gave this particular small chapter of the Quran so much importance. Quran, this one in particular, the mother of the book, really shows that. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, merciful. Ba is with. Ba, to convey the meaning, to pass on the meaning. Here you can see Bism is in the name. Bism, in the name. But here you can see this is one word, but in fact in the split word, Ism is a name. Even in Urdu we say Ism, which means name, an attribute. So Bism is in the name, with the name. With the name of who? With the name of Allah. And who is Allah? Allah is Ar-Rahman. He is the gracious. And he is also Ar-Raheem. He is the merciful. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, or with the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful. Now, interestingly enough, I read somewhere that ism means name and attribute. So when we say in the name of, the name is Allah, in the name of Allah, and the attributes are the gracious and the merciful. Right? So this ism noun actually takes in all three, Allah as the name and the attributes of Ar-Rahman and Ar-Raheem. We did briefly also try to understand, we've tried to go through the meanings of these words, Ar-Rahman, the gracious. So one may ask, what is the difference between Ar-Rahman and Ar-Raheem? This, in fact, has been extensively explained by Sayyidina Hazrat Aqdas Masih Maud Islam. And he says that the root word, every Arabic word has verb has a root word. Root is the central word from which many more meanings can be taken out, right? Which is the central focal point of that verb. So both of these words, Ar-Rahman and Ar-Raheem, actually have the same root word, Rahima. There's a this is not directly linked to translation, but most Ahmadis know that the promised Messiah, والسلام, we believe that one of his miracles was that in one night, Allah the Almighty taught him 40,000 root words of Arabic. Not just, not just 40,000 words, but root words, meaning that, for example, one root word is Rahima, Rahman, Rahim, um, Al-Marhum, exactly like hundreds of words can be derived from one root word.
So, what's the big deal is that?
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, Khurshid Sahib. Can I request you to please put everyone on mute?
How can I do that? I'm not sure. I've tried to do that before.
Okay, 1 second. If I reclaim host.
Yes, please. If you can do that.
There we go. And I'll ask you to unmute.
That's fine. Jazakallah.
Okay? Jazakallah.
So right. So coming back to the root word. In this case, the root word is Rahima. Ar-Rahman means this Ar-Rahman. It refers to complete, and I gave you the example of Mufradat, which is an Arabic lexicon or dictionary. This means ihsan, goodness, tenderness for everyone, regardless of one's belief. So the fact is that Allah Ta'ala was a Rahman even before our creation, before our birth. He was preparing everything. He was nurturing everything so that we could flourish in this world. So Ar-Rahman is regardless of one's belief system. Allah Ta'ala gives everyone equal opportunity to uh, to succeed in life. And then when we go to the next attribute, Ar-Rahim, the merciful, this is when someone seeing the bounties of Allah through Ar-Rahman. You know, as Muslims, we look at the bounties of Allah and we're in awe. We see Allah Ta'ala has given so much to us, and this is all because of Him being a Rahman. Some people might just neglect and say this is normal, but it's not really normal. This is the attribute of a Rahman. Everything, plants, animals, human beings, Allah Ta'ala has provided everything that we need to survive and to succeed in life. This is His attribute of a Rahman. Ar-Rahim, on the other hand, is when we continuously, we can bar bar rahm karne wala. Bar bar rahm karna, that He shows mercy over and over again. But He shows mercy to those people who tread upon the right path. So I hope you've understood the difference. It's a difference which is very important to understand. Ar-Rahman is for everyone. Ar-Rahim is for those individuals who keep walking along the paths that Allah Ta'ala has allocated, and they keep thriving and they keep trying to search for Allah's mercy and blessings. So Allah Ta'ala becomes Ar-Rahim for them. Bar bar rahm karne wala. So one interesting point which I will end here for this for these two attributes specifically. One is that the former Ar-Rahman, the former attribute generally pertains to this life, meaning that whoever fully takes in the fact that Allah Ta'ala is Ar-Rahman, He's provided everything for us to succeed in life, he can truly succeed in this life, regardless of what they believe in. While the latter attribute generally pertains to the life to come. So a Muslim would know that if he keeps on following the teachings of Allah the Almighty, Allah will show him His mercy. This is where the attribute of Ar-Rahim comes in. Alhamd, we spoke about our Alif Lam. It's written here. This is to denote comprehensiveness. Alhamd, all praise, not just any particular praise which comes from one individual, but any praise which can truly be considered praise, which you fully mean, from the bottom of your heart, that this is the praise that I want to give to someone. So alhamd means every praise possible is for who? The perfect and the most comprehensive praise is for, is for. In Arabic, is for. Is for who? Is for Allah the Almighty. All praise, right? So we could have said alhamd, the praise, but because this is for Allah the Almighty, so we include every praise which is possible, that all praise is for Allah. And who is Allah? Allah is the Rabb. He is the Lord. Right? So the meanings that I've taken from the lexicons Mufradad and Lain is that A, Lord, Master, Creator; B, one who sustains and develops; C, one who brings to perfection by degrees. All of these meanings are actually part of Rabb. So when we say Rabb, we say Lord of all the worlds, Rabbul Alameen, Lord of all the worlds. But in fact, Rabb is so much more than that. So Allah, He is the Master, He's the Creator. He sustains us, He nourishes us, He develops us, and He brings some degrees of perfection to our being. All of these meanings come under Rabb. So when we say, I hope you're understanding the point that I'm trying to make here, that all praise is reserved for Allah. Why? Because He's the Rabb, and all the meanings that I've given to you, that is why all the praise is for Him. And He is the Rabb of not just A, B, or C, Bakr or Zaid. He is the Rabb of Al-Alameen, of all the worlds, even beyond our imagination, our understanding, or our intellect. Anything which can be considered a world, He is the Rabb of that. Now we spoke about Al-Alameen is plural. If we say Al-Alam, this is singular, one world. One interesting point I'll just add here. These two, on the face of it, are the same. Al-Alam, and this is Al-Alim. So the only difference here is, I'm not sure how to add this at the moment, but I'll just type it in English anyway, just for your benefit. This is how easy it is to sometimes get the wrong meaning, and that is why these Nazara classes have started, these Tarjamatul-Qur'an classes, is because it's very easy to make us, on the face of it, a small mistake, but it can change the meanings altogether of the text. So if we say Al-Alam, that's a world, the world. If we say Al-Alim, that means a scholar, right? But that's because I've typed here. But if you did not see that, it was very easy to think that they were both the same thing. Al-Alam is world, the plural of which is Al-Alameen, the worlds. and Al-Alim is a scholar. We've already gone through Ar-Rahman and Ar-Raheem. The next verse is an attribute of Allah. Maliki Yawmiddin, master of the day of judgment. Malik in Arabic means master. And we spoke about this yesterday as well. Not just any ordinary master. Master is he has the right of ownership over a thing, and he has the power to deal with it as one likes. This is from the lexicon Akrab. So he has total ownership of it. So, for example, if you buy something, you have total ownership over it. That's yours to have. That's yours to keep. So, if a human being is the master of something in specific, he buys something and that's his or hers to keep. Malik, Allah is the master. He possesses the right over everyone. But in this specific attribute, what is he the Malik of? He is the Malik of Yawm. He is Malik, he is the master, and he has total ownership over the day. Yawm in Arabic is day. Akrab has given a few meanings, for example, time absolutely, day from sunrise to sunset, or present time. There are many, these are some of the meanings which I have taken out for you. So he's the master of a day, which is ad-din. Ad-din in this context would mean judgment. He is the master, he has absolute ownership over a day which is reserved as the day of judgment. The day of judgment. Maliki Yawmiddin. Din, according to the lexicon of Lane, Din means recompense, requital, judgment, reckoning, dominion, government, obedience, religion, etc. Ad-Din, you say, is very familiar to those who understand Arabic and Urdu. Ad-Din can also easily mean, and is normally referred to as faith, your religion. But here, Malik, he is the master of the day of judgment. Other meanings can also apply here. Reckoning, of recompense, right? So he is the master of the day of judgment. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Thee alone, or you alone, we worship. Na'budu, we worship. Wa iyyaka nasta'in, and thee alone do we implore for help. Iyya is alone, right? But because Iyya is connected with ka, Iyyaka, ka obviously is a pronoun, you is a pronoun. Iyyaka, you alone. Iyya on its own um, would perhaps not make much sense, but because it's come with a pronoun, Iyyaka, you alone. And this is how beautiful and comprehensive the verses of the Quran are, that it shows absolute commitment to Allah the Almighty. Right? So if you go up again, if Allah is Al-Malik, if he's Malik, if he's the master who has total ownership over us, then it shows how humble and how much humility should be in us, that we truly say Iyaka, that you alone, that's absolutely you. Nobody else can be included in that category. Iyaka, thee alone, na'budu, we worship. Iyaka, thee alone, na'budu, we worship. And I spoke about how na'budu is actually past and future tense. And inshallah, the grammatic rules we can study as we go on, so that we can only take in as much as we can actually understand and keep in mind. Iyaka na'budu, thee alone, you alone, na'budu, we worship. Wa and, this is a conjunction used to connect words. Wa and, just like in the English language, Iyaka, you alone, nasta'in. Nasta'in is to implore for help. We implore for help. The noon here, as you can see, it refers to we. Same as the noon here. Iyaka na'budu, you alone do we worship. and you alone we implore for help. So the alif, sin, and ta in the beginning of a word normally indicates that we ask or something is being asked. So nasta'in in this sense would mean that we ask for help, we implore for help, we request Allah's help because He's master, He's Malik, Maliki Yawmiddin, He's the absolute master. So we can only ask, we cannot demand help, we can only ask and request the help and the mercy of Allah. Iyyaka nasta'in, iyyaka na'budu, thee alone do we worship. Wa iyyaka nasta'in, and you alone, thee alone do we ask or implore for help. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Ihdi, this is the imperative tense, or in Arabic we call it fail amr. Fail amr is when you give a commandment. So in this sense, ihdi, in Arabic, in Urdu as well, we say hadayat. When you give a prayer to someone, you say Allah Ta'ala, you've also heard Hazur say in his sermons, Ki Allah Ta'ala unhe hadayat de. May Allah guide them. Okay. So ihdi is from the same root word as hadayat, but this is the imperative tense. This is Allah, this is a commandment. Ihdi, guide. You guide na, us. This is us pleading with Allah. Ihdi, you guide. Please guide. Ihdina, us. Ihdina, you guide us. Or just simply guide us. Guide us towards where? Guide us to as-sirat. So, we spoke about how alif lam means something specific. Ihdina, guide us off to as-sirat, to that path, that specific path, which is al-mustaqim, which is absolutely straight. Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, guide us in the right path. Then Allah the Almighty further elaborates what that path is. Sirat al-lazina an'amta alayhim. The path of those on whom thou hast bestowed thy blessings. Thou could mean you as well. The path of those on whom you have bestowed your blessings. Sirat, now you can see that the alif lam is no longer there. So this is just simply path. Path of al-lazina, those. If we take away the noon, that would mean Sirat al-Lazi, the path of one individual, the path of whom. But because there's a noon here, Sirat al-Ladhina, this is plural, the path of those people, of those an'amta, you bestowed blessings. This is fail mazi, past tense. An'amta, you bestowed blessings. In Arabic, in Urdu, we say inam, inam. And everyone has heard of the word inam. कि इसे क्या इनाम मिलना चाहिए, इज्तिमा पर इनामात मिलते हैं. This is the same thing. An'amta, you bestowed. An'amta, you bestowed blessings. Blessings upon whom? Blessings on what? Allah Ta'ala explains that as well. Blessings, Allah, on. Allah, him, on them. But when you read the Quran, it will say, this one, Sirat al-Lazina an'amta, you bestowed blessings, alayhim, alayhim. But in fact, This, if you go to the split word translation, this would be Alahim, on him, them, alayhim, upon them. So let's read the translation now. Sirat al-lazina, the path of those people, an'amta, you bestowed blessings, alayhim, upon them. The path of those on whom thou hast bestowed thy blessings. Ghair, not. We say we are Muslim, non-Muslim, one who is not a Muslim. Ghair, not. Al-Maghzub. You might have heard of the word Ghazab, Ghazab ilahi, the wrath of Allah. Ghazab is wrath. So Al-Maghzub is those who incurred displeasure. Al-Maghzub is those who incurred displeasure, and this is passive. This is where the subject is unknown. Subject meaning one who is carrying out the act is unknown. Ghairil Maghzub, those who have incurred by the displeasure, Allah again upon him, them. Ghairil Maghzubi alayhim, those who incurred displeasure. Here we say Ghairil Maghzub, and those who have incurred displeasure. But because there's a ghair here, the meaning of not in English has come in the middle. Right? So those who have not incurred thy displeasure. Al-Maghzub, simply, if you remove ghair here, bear with me. So if you were to say ghairil maghzub, that would mean those who have not incurred displeasure. Ghairil maghzub. But let's remove ghair, it will mean those who incurred your displeasure. So ghairil maghzub, not those who have incurred or who have caused your displeasure, alayhim, upon them. This is a bit difficult, that is why I'm going over it a few times. Ghairil maghzubi alayhim, those who have not incurred thy displeasure, your displeasure. Wa, and la, not. Azzalin, those who have gone astray. There are certainly some rules that I might have left out, but my intention is that as we, inshallah, go through with these classes, some rules will become more common knowledge to you. And I'm already trying to go through as much as we can take in at the moment. So we've completed Surah Al-Fatihah. I highly recommend that you, when you have spare time, that you go online and read Surah Al-Fatihah and try to understand the split word translation. That will make it much easier, especially those who intend on coming to the class over and over again. So keep learning translation a little bit every day, every now and then. That way you will pick up pace really quickly and the translation will become much easier for you, inshallah. So Jazakumullah Asmal Jaza for attending today's class. Inshallah, I will see you all on Wednesday at 6 p.m.